Guys, Greg here. It is time for the 2021 Jazz Vinyl Tag. What is that? Well, every year the vinyl community on YouTube does a thing called the Vinyl Tag, which is like a bunch of questions about your record collection. This year, in addition to the regular tag, there's one just about jazz, and that was created from Chris at Tunes from the Man Cave. So thanks to Chris for putting that together. And I watched a bunch of videos from fellow YouTubers on this, and I want to shout out to 3 or 4 people that I just found out about in the last week or so, primarily because of this thread of videos that's going around. So real quick, before I get into the video, SublimeMedia in Sweden showed a lot of great Swedish jazz, and the Jazz Basement in Washington, D.C., great collection, and the Waxed here in Los Angeles. And the one that really kind of blew me away was SeekingaThread in New York. And this guy shows some great spiritual and sort of psychedelic jazz. Love that stuff. A lot of great records I want to get just from watching this video. So let's get into my 20 questions. I'll get through them as quick as I can. And I will show you records. So the first one is, what album got you into jazz? And when I was in high school, junior high, I was really into rock guitar. Today it's called classic rock guitar because that was 30 or 40 years ago. But when I realized I loved guitar solos more than the lyrics, I started listening to this guy, Jeff Beck. And it's like a jazz record. It purports to be a jazz record. Jeff Beck is a great introduction to somebody who is jazz curious, but maybe not a real jazzer. Okay, question number 2, the first jazz album you bought. Again, when I was in high school, I worked at some different record stores. And in one store, there was this bass player who played this record all the time, Yellow Jackets, and very kind of slick LA fusion funk. But the highlight of this is Robin Ford, monster guitar player, really a blues guitar player, but totally has jazz chops. And you know, he played with Miles Davis for a while. Yellow Jackets, also with Jimmy Haslip, amazing bass player, Russell Ferrante. Robin Ford's guitar solos are blisteringly awesome, and I spun that a million times when I was in high school. Okay, now there's a series of questions about jazz labels. Name any jazz record you own on Blue Note. Well, I mean, I got a room full of them, but the one that I just bought in the last couple of weeks. Which side should I be on? Is this a good side? Charles Lloyd and the Marvels. Charles, great sax player, flute player, very chill kind of a vibe. Let's see. Oh, this is a double record set, and it's got Bill Frisell and Greg Lees on steel guitar. And you may know that Charles Lloyd actually coined the term tone poet, which is used throughout this Blue Note series, that specifically referring to Joe Harley, the sort of audio mastermind behind all this. Okay, how about a record on Prestige? I just kind of grabbed one from the stacks, but this one is interesting. Kenny Burrell, All Night Long. And what's interesting on it is the player list. Hank Mobley on sax, and Donald Byrd on trumpet, and Mal Waldron on piano, Art Taylor bass, Doug Watkins bass, Art Taylor drums. Mel Waldron, I got a lot of his stuff as a sideman. I don't have enough stuff. I don't think I have any of his stuff as a leader. Trying to get more of his stuff. Really great composer and piano player. If you guys have any tips on any Mal Waldron, that's a good place to start. Let me know, or just send me a record, whatever you want to do. 1963 on Prestige. This looks to be an original copy. I'm not one of those pressing freaks that has to, you know, just totally geek out over what pressing, okay? Some of them are new, some of them are old, some of them are original, some of them are from thrift stores. It's all over the map. Okay, how about a record on Impulse? Okay, going back all the way to 1984, Yusef Lateef. Actually, this is 1965, and 1984 is more of the iconic year. That seemed like it was very futuristic, but of course, it's come and gone. Impulse. This appears to be original, although Somehow I got it for only $8 from a reputable record store in Santa Monica. Can't get it back in the hole. I won't make you guys wait. Here's a good one. Here's a nice little record on Riverside. Monk 5x5. And let's see, it's got a lot of classic Monk tunes on it. Jackie Ing, I Mean You, Ask Me Now, all classic Monk tunes. But I love the really old-fashioned explanation of how stereo speakers work. For those of you who aren't familiar with stereophonic sound, that was a new thing in the 50s. And what year is this? It says something about 1958. No, recorded in 59. But the crazy thing about this record, there's two crazy things about it. Can you see the price tag? It says 50 cents. There's a good reason for it saying 50 cents. Are you ready? Are you ready to know why it was 50 cents? That ain't the record that's inside. Monk and Coltrane on Jazzland is what's inside. It's an okay shape. It is. Side one is pretty scratched, but 50 cents just for the cover alone. And I probably have this on CD, if I'm allowed to say that. But it's weird. Somebody out there has my Monk album, and I have his Coltrane record. So if you're out there, let's do a swap. Or just send them both to me. That would be easier. How about a record on Contemporary? Contemporary, kind of a lesser-known jazz label, not as iconic as Impulse or Blue Note, but close association with Howard Rumsey and the Lighthouse, which is a bar club in Hermosa Beach, California. And in those days, in the early 50s, a lot of jazz was on 10-inch, not 12-inch. So this is a 10-inch. Great players on here: Shorty Rogers, Jimmy Giuffre, Bud Shank, Max Roach. It's in decent shape. Well, it's pretty scratched, actually. 99 cents. Big spender. Okay, what else? That's Contemporary. How about a record that's on a small label or subsidiary label? Okay, what's the deal with this record? What's the deal with this label? Okay, what label is that? Did you figure it out yet? It's upside down. Apple? Apple Computer? No, Apple Records, the Beatles. Since when do they do jazz records? Modern Jazz Quartet in Space. I'm very into getting more stuff that's sort of spacey, cosmic, spiritual, psychedelic. This sort of fits the bill. It's got a song called Visitor from Venus, Visitor from Mars, but it's got some standards on it. But pretty groovy 70s cover for Modern Jazz Quartet. How modern were they? Record that you like, but not that many people know about. Okay, I got a good choice for that. And the group is called Power Tools, but in reality it's Bill Frisell on guitar, one of my all-time favorite guitar players, and Melvin Gibbs on bass, and Ronald Shannon Jackson on drums. The record is called Strange Meeting, and it's sort of a one-take recording. No overdubbing, all that stuff. There's some mellow stuff on here, and there's some pretty out-there stuff on there. So if you like Bill Frisell's playing, which I do, this is a rare one that not that many people know about. It's on the Antilles label, which is an imprint of Island Records. I guess they're defunct now. They funked and then they defunct, apparently. Let's see. The favorite record that I bought last year, 2020. I bought a ton of records online during the year of our COVID. And one that stands out is Ron Miles, Rainbow Sign, new music on Blue Note. Ron plays cornet on here. He plays trumpet, flugelhorn, but cornet on this one. Love the cover, love the artwork. Again, we have Bill Frisell, Brian Blade on drums. I love him. Cool looking gatefold. And there's a couple really nice Ron Miles compositions on here, and this got on some people's top 10 lists for the year. And Very interesting artwork. Doesn't necessarily have to fit with the old Blue Note, but it's just as innovative and interesting and awesome. Ron Miles. Okay, favorite record in an artist's complete discography. That's really hard because some of these jazz artists who've recorded for 30, 40 years have zillions of records. Doesn't Miles have like over 100 records? But let's go with an artist that's closer to home. What does that mean? Well, I'm from the same state as this guy. You recognize him. Another white Midwestern boy like me, Pat Metheny. His first, not his first album, but the first album that really put him on the map. Bright Size Life. 1975, he was only 21 years old. And Jaco Pastorius, some people think this is Jaco's one of his very best records. And Bob Moses on drums. Some really cool original Metheny compositions on here. And a couple of Ornette Coleman tunes. And this record was just recognized by the Library of Congress as one of the 25 essential records, whatever their Library of Congress Hall of Fame, I don't know. They induct 25 records a year. That was one of them. And yeah, this is an old copy that I've had in the house for ages. 1976. But yeah, check it out if you don't have it. You should have it. It's hard to say what my favorite is of Metheny, but that's a good one to at least claim that is my favorite. A record that was gifted to you by a friend. Okay, where is it? Here it is. Okay, this is a nice gift to get from somebody. Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, Moanin'. And Moanin', I would say people would agree this is one of the top 5 all-time Blue Note recordings. The only picture of Art Blakey known where he wasn't smiling. He's always smiling ear to ear. He has such energy and exuberance. But great players on here. Bobby Timmons on piano. The title track is a Bobby Timmons tune, Moanin'. Lee Morgan on trumpet. If you don't believe me on the wonderfulness of the song Moanin', check out the Paris concert that they did, I guess for TV, but that's on YouTube. Just type in Art Blakey Paris Moanin'. It'll pop right up. So $5 used. This is a Liberty repress. I was at my friend and I were at a audio show that had a record sale in the basement, and he grabbed this for $5, and I grabbed Coltrane Blue Train for $5, a second U.S. pressing, which I still have, and I think I did better than him, but not long after that, he got the Music Masters version of this, so he gifted this to me. He got the whole subscription series. He didn't listen to any of them, but happy to have this, and I will probably want to upgrade this to the Blue Note Classics version that just came out. And what else can you possibly say about one of the greatest? Rudy Van Gelder, of course. What else would you expect? Benny Golson on sax. Okay, let's move on. You're going too slow, Greg. Of course, I skipped a couple, as I always do. Favorite record bought in a brick and mortar store? Well, I've been collecting for 40 plus years. Longer than that. 98% of my collection is bought in brick and mortar stores. I don't always check that they're actual brick, not cinder block or wood, but I'm just going to throw this one out there because it was such an amazing experience to buy this record at the Salvation Army here in Los Angeles. I think it was $2, and it appears to be an original first pressing. Herbie Hancock, Empyrean Isles, Freddie Hubbard, Ron Carter, Tony Williams, one of his amazing early records on Blue Note. There's a strange flaw in the printing, but on this day it appeared that maybe a jazz fan had passed away and somebody carted all his records to the Salvation Army. So I got a bunch of other stuff, Lester Young and Wardell Gray and maybe some Duke Ellington. I don't remember, but that was a happy day in collector land. People have offered me money on this on Discogs, so I'm gonna keep it for now. Herbie Hancock just celebrated his, what was it, 81st birthday? A couple days ago. And, of course, I had to celebrate with Herbie, my man. Actually, I met him at some event at, actually, the Blue Note film thing in LA a couple years ago. But I never tire of bragging that I've met Herbie Hancock. It's, you know, it's about all I've accomplished in 40 years. Oh, I skipped one. A record that a friend bought or gifted to you. I told you about Art Blakey, but I didn't tell you about this. A cassette? Are we allowed to do cassettes? You're not technically supposed to. But I started working in a record store when I was in college, UCLA, early 80s. And I had mentioned that I just got into jazz. And I heard about this guy named Pat Metheny. Very accessible if you're new to jazz. Good place to start. If you're coming out of a rock genre, whatever. So a lovely young lady at the store made me this mixtape. It's got some of the stuff from the Metheny White album, and it's got travel stuff on here. And she gave me this. I gave her one of these. Yeah, still got it on. Beautiful to have this cassette 30 plus years later. So thank you. Again, jazz box set. To me, a jazz box set is a compilation of stuff that's re-released, and I do not have anything like that. Wait, I do. But I'm not going to show it to you yet. I'm going to show you a record that came out as a box set. This is an Epic collection. It's actually an Epic new release called The Epic by Kamasai Washington. Did I pronounce it right? Very spiritual, cosmic, trippy, great artwork, and large ensemble cast. 3 records. You gotta kind of spend some time listening to all of them. Don't know what else to say about it. I gotta give this another listen. I haven't listened to it in a while. But box set compilations, I'm gonna show you another one, or 2 or 3. Just hang tight. Yeah, there's the magic Goodwill sticker. Ever walked into the Goodwill and seen something that says the complete Blue Note Hank Mobley 1950s sessions? Because that's 3 discs right there. And it comes with 3 more discs. And, you know, this is Mosaic. So Mosaic is a very high quality reissue label. And they're very known for being very complete in their... How did I do that? Very complete in their reissues. And they would issue these in a box that's shaped like an album, and these would be placed inside it. But the box wasn't there, so I was searching around the shelves, and I see one, and then I see another. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm onto a trend here. And then I see another, and this is the complete Blue Note of Grant Green with Sonny Clark. And this is a 2 or 3 or 4 disc set. And then there was a whole other set by I Quebec. So that day at the Goodwill, I cleaned up on the CD box sets. And we're allowed to talk about CDs on the vinyl tag. I hope I don't get kicked out of the vinyl community, especially by Ken. Okay, box set. The next question is a Jazz 10-inch. Now, I showed you that one from... what was it? Lighthouse, whatever. But let's go back even earlier. 30s, the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s. If any jazz existed at all, it was for the most part on 10-inch because everything was 78 RPM. The entire bebop era was 78 RPM. I've got an original to show you. It's a 2-disc set. Opera in Voûte. Groove Juice Symphony by Slim Gaillard and Bam Brown. Look at the artwork. This is an original DSM, David Stone Martin. Check out the detail on here. The details are fabtastic. And 78 RPM, 10 inches, 2 discs. And unfortunately, this is missing the, there was an insert liner note thing that was Should have been glued in there. I didn't realize that till after I bought it. But for those of you that don't know Slim Gaillard, you should. He was the most multi-talented person in all of jazz and music for a period of time. He did play with Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie and others, and he's the only person who could play bebop on a guitar and a saxophone and piano and vibes and drums and spoke 6 languages. And he's in all kinds of TV shows. His music is really novelty, funny stuff, but he's got the chops to play real jazz, and very happy to have that. Okay, most recent jazz score. 2 days ago, I got a package in the mail with my 2 most recent scores. Which one do you want to talk about first? Okay, how about Pharoah Sanders with Floating Points and the London Symphony Orchestra. And Floating Points is really the brainchild of this mega genius guy, Sam Shepard, who is a classical trained keyboardist and DJ and synthesizer and ambient and all kinds of hipster stuff. So he designed this sort of suite of music for Pharoah Sanders with a lot of electronics, and anyway, it's very cool. It's very mellow. Check out the gatefold. We're going to unfold now. Whoa. The artwork, very intricate. Julie Moretu, give her credit. And there's Pharoah Sanders. What is he, in his 80s, 90s? Still sounds great. So just by coincidence, that day's mail came with 2 great sax players, and the other one being Yusef Lateef, Eastern Sounds. So this record got a lot of controversy recently because of the craft recording $100 pressing that was on eBay the next day for $500. I'm more of a $20 guy, okay? This is a nice sounding record. I don't know why people think it's a $100 record. I don't think it's Yusef Lateef's best. Some of it's very traditional sounding, and some of it's a little hipper, you know. But he's got some standards on here. Love theme from Spartacus and that type of thing. But it's a nice record. But if you're running around trying to buy it for $200 or $300, buy the $20 copy. Why not? And I've got a nice system, okay? Playing this on a Rega P7. I've got some, we'll get into all that stuff later, someday. We can brag about our giant stereos at some other time. Okay, what else? Jazz record you hope to find in 2021. So in the video that Mr. SeekingaThread did, he talked about Malcolm Cecil and the Tonto mega synthesizer system, which I wasn't that familiar with, so I got to get more of that stuff. Whatever you were playing in the background there, Mr. Thread, I love what you were playing. I also want to get more of the Floating Point stuff. He has some records that are more like in the jazz fusion-y, DJ electronica sort of vein. So check that out. I want to get some more of that stuff this year. And what record do you want to upgrade in 2021? Well, I showed you the Art Blakey, and I've got to get the new Blue Note Classic 80th Anniversary Edition, because this version is a little bit scratched up. Actually, the other one I need is the Cannonball Adderley something else. I've got a 75th Anniversary issue that is not that great. I also have the 75th Anniversary of the Wayne Shorter Speak No Evil. And the pressing is not that great. I already did upgrade that to the new 80th Anniversary. Sounds better. A free jazz record. Is that a free record? Or is that a free jazz record? This record says free jazz on it, so it must be a free jazz record. It's a collective improvisation by Ornette Coleman, and not the Ornette Coleman Band, not one but 2 quartets, the double quartet on Atlantic Records. This appears to be an original gatefold. Check out the gatefold. You get a little bit, and then you get more Jackson Pollock on the inside. How much Jackson? Wait, it's upside down. Oh, yeah. There we go. White Light by Jackson Pollock. And let's see, who plays on here? Don Cherry plays on here. Eric Dolphy, Freddie Hubbard, Charlie Hayden, Billy Higgins, Scott LaFaro on bass. Wow. Ed Blackwell. Engineered by Tom Dowd, the rock guy who's famous for doing like Layla and stuff. And I'm not sure his sound is right on as Rudy Van Gelder. It ain't. Okay. Giant Steps, great record. Probably doesn't sound as good as stuff coming out of Blue Note and Impulse for the Day. Tom, love ya. But I think I got this for $8 at a record store in St. Louis. Nice to...
station based on you like songs.
What the?
Amazon Music.
Okay, Alexa, be quiet. Why did Alexa start talking? I have no idea. The hell? Desert Island Jazz album. I forgot to pull one, so like I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna grab the first record that's in sight here. Okay. Oh, actually, this is what I was thinking. You guys are sick of hearing about this guy, Pat Metheny, Charlie Hayden. If you're on a desert island, do you have any food? Do you have a stereo? Why did you bring a record with you? Why did you bring just one record with you? I don't know. But I got this also at a Hi-Fi Records show. This was one of the first expensive records I bought. Is it a 2-record set? I think so. Charlie Hayden, Pat Metheny, Beyond the Missouri Sky. And it's kind of a good companion piece to Bright Size Life. There's the same sort of mellow Midwestern rural vibe. It's not the New York jazz scene vibe. It's a different vibe altogether, but it is valid and excellent jazz. And this is like all ballads. Like if you're on a desert island and you just wanted to sit there and contemplate life and loneliness, this might be the record for you. What tune is on here? Oh, Cinema Paradiso. It's fantastic. Spiritual, which is Charlie Hayden's son wrote that tune, and Johnny Cash made it famous with Rick Rubin, but the version on here is excellent. And The Moon is a Harsh Mistress by Jimmy Webb. This is some weird German label I'm not familiar with, but I have this on CD and LP, and if I was on a desert island, I don't know that I would have a stereo. Would I have one of those crank-up ones like on Gilligan's Island? Guys, that concludes, oh my god, this is a 30-minute video. That concludes this year's Jazz Vinyl Tag 2021. Thanks again to the people that inspired me to do this. Chris from Tunes from the Man Cave, and The Waxed, and SublimeMedia in Sweden, and SeekingaThread. And he works at a cool New York record store called Angry Mom Records, and the Jazz Basement in Washington, D.C. Please consider subscribing to all those channels and my channel. Let me know what you think of this video. Unless you say it's too long, then I already know that. So thank you very much. Keep the jazz spinning. Bye-bye.